Hello Multiverse, this is Elphie Agent Coyle. I'm the creator of Lightmare Studios and co-creator of Infinity Wars. And this week I'm here with Adorabear. Say hello.
Hello.
So Adorabear is our in-house IW expert, and he'll be the one who's giving us all that expert commentary and analysing the heck out of the games that we're going to be seeing today. So what this is, first up, for anyone who's new, Infinity Wars is the trading card game that Lightmare wanted to create. This ain't your grandpa's trading card game, and it's it's a brand new game coming out very soon for PC and mobile, and it will be a whole bunch of awesome features in it, the 3D animated cards. We have simultaneous turns, which creates an amazing bit of gameplay and the potential to do esports quite well. And that's part of the reason for us doing this first showcase match. And so this first showcase match will be basically taking two of the players from the community. We had a vote, and people decided who would be in this matchup, and the people have voted. So who's in our matchup today, man?
We've got WWKnight and CthulhuGirl.
Great. So just before we talk about the players, we'll just let you know that there's actual times down below. So if you get bored with hearing our voices and want to skip straight to the games, you can do that, as well as all the deck lists that we're going to go through just briefly. So quickly, just a bit about ourselves. You can connect with me on Facebook. My details are down below. Adorabear, who I haven't talked about yet much, is really one of our biggest and oldest players. So if I'm correct, you're in the early 80s for player level, yeah?
Yeah, I'm the highest level at the moment, but I'm not the oldest player.
Cool.
WWKnight has been playing longer than me. He's been around since he's the very first player.
He's definitely been around since the dawn of time, that man, who's coming in our matchup today. And just a little bit more about you. You're actually top 5 in both the Rift runs and the ranked ladders for the last 6 months. You'd be the top of the ladder quite a bit, and you're also actually designing our new pre-made decks, if I remember correctly, yeah?
Yeah.
Awesome. So this man we have here is the IW expert, so feel free to add him in game. It's Adorabear, and bug him for a game or two. I'm sure if he's free, he'll be able to help you out, yeah?
Yeah.
Great. Okay, so we're going to look at the two players today. So we've said a little bit about WWKnight, so just continue on with WWKnight and what you know of CthulhuGirl as well.
Well, CthulhuGirl does a lot of videos on YouTube, so she's quite well known around the community. I think she got the most votes for who people wanted to see. And WWKnight is on the QA team, so he does a lot of balance testing and stuff. So he should know all of these cards pretty well.
Welcome back. We're just going to have a look at the deck lists now. So let's have a look at what we have here. You guys can click on the link down below, which will show you each of their decks. Having a look at WWKnight's first, it's called the Omnitron deck. And let's have a look at his commanders. Can you say a little bit about the commanders he's chosen and your thoughts around them, Adorabear?
Tygris is an unusual pick. You don't see that a lot. Tinker is pretty normal, and the Unending Drone's a bit strange. He actually has a lot of drones in the main deck, so we'll see how that turns out.
Yeah, I haven't seen many strong Unending Drone decks around the place in a long time, actually, since I was playing like the alpha and early beta. So we'll see how these decks hold out. I love the idea of him using a stock Tygris. It should be a lot of fun. Just so new players can understand, Tygris is an architect, a master architect, who's actually been built off the other co-creator of the game, Ian Underwood, the legend that he is. And it's basically designed after him. You can actually go and create your own card. Based on the amount of resources you put into that card, you can give it certain abilities and certain stats. So we'll have a look at that in play. I see from a commentator point of view, Tinkerer is pretty common choice nowadays. And in the actual deck list itself, any thoughts around that you want to share?
It's a pretty late game strategy. He's got the Omnitron I noticed in there, which is one of the newer Ascension cards. It's going to be basically a game winner if you can get it out. that's what he's going to be hoping for. He'll probably hope to stall with all his drones that come back to life.
Yeah, and he's got a shield generator as well. Yep.
And then get his Omnitron out later.
Excellent, excellent. So yes, just for you guys to know as well, this is a preview match of the Ascension set. So the guys have been given, I believe, deck rules of around 15 minimum or min-max the like actual Ascension cards that are being put into the game. My apologies there. So they'll have 15 Ascension cards that they can use. So you guys will get a nice preview on these cards that are going to be coming out a couple of weeks from now. The pre-orders are now live with pre-order bonuses in-game, so go check it out and we can unlock some more cards and more cool alternate art for everybody. So they've got a sideboard of Cleanse the Land and Anti-Air missiles, pretty obvious choices. Let's have a look at CthulhuGirl's Decklist. First up, 2 Aether Acolytes as commanders, as well as the Subjugated Dragon. Any comments there?
The Subjugated Dragon, I know what she's going to be doing with this. It's a little bit
sneaky.
yeah, we'll put it that way.
Well, we'll leave that surprise for when it actually happens in game. And then any comments on the actual deck itself?
Well, it looks pretty standard for Veroria, except it's got a lot of the new Ascension stuff in. So there'll be lots of killing the things.
Lots of killing the things. I see a lot of thing killing cards here on this deck list. So build playstyle, kill all the nice things for science. Love it. Love your work, CthulhuGirl. So we're now going to kick into the matches themselves. The time you've been waiting for is here upon us. So we'll look forward to seeing you guys in the matches. This is game 1, and we can see an early play there by WWKnight. So mechanism, end of turn, any characters next to mechanism get +1/+1. That's his first turn. Any comments?
Nah, he probably wants to play out that he's going to get his robots a little bit bigger.
Master of Demons gets +3/+3 for each character. Sorry, each creature on the battlefield, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's getting changed around a bit on the QA at the moment. It needs to be balanced properly, so that's not its final form.
Great. Okay, drawing a Veroria Lord won't keep, so she's definitely going to want to keep everyone at bay and only cause one character to attack per turn. So one of the big things just for new players, Infinity Wars is a simultaneous turn gameplay. So you can see right here we're on WWKnight, he's planning out his phase, bringing out an Unending Drone, clicking end turn, and then we see the resolution phase play out and everyone's moves all play out. So Aether Acolyte and that Demon Girl coming in for 6 there, using Aleta's move on the drone, buffing it up, changing his mind, bringing out a support drone instead, and then buffing that Unending Drone. Just comment on it whenever you want, man.
No, that looks pretty standard. I think the first couple turns of this game will be pretty like easy plays, like very obvious moves. Because they're just building, both sides are kind of late game, so they're both just going to build up their sides a bit.
Seeing more of these Demon Master girls coming out from Ascension. And here we go. So, resolution phase, we're going to see this Unending Drone buff up thanks to the support drone. 5/5, trading off, and then taking another 6. So he's taking an early beating. But that's okay, I think he's sort of counting on a bit of an early beating. He probably wasn't counting on having all his stuff in his support drone, row getting blasted by that Desolation, so we'll see what happens. Okay, and so we're on Cthulhu sides, and we're switching over to WWKnight. He's bringing out another mechanism.
Yeah, he's going to be sad. He's going to be sad this time.
He will, because he's going to lose pretty much everything, right? So if he doesn't move something in to defend, which he'll lose anyway, because...
An interesting thing about mechanism is how you arrange your support zone. It's the only card in the game at the moment that actually cares about where you have your guys in your support zone.
In your support zone, yeah, because I know that the Zombie Gorn does some positional stuff as well, but it's not for the support zone. So, okay, he's buffing as expected, that Unending Drone, which might mean, pull back. So CthulhuGirl's pulled back everything. He will lose everything else besides the Unending Drone, but that's the beauty of the Unending Drones. They keep coming back. As long as you have one in play, it'll keep bringing back more Unending Drones. And so we'll notice as well that he's got the...
He's searching for an artifact at the moment.
Oh.
So you can see the Omnitron's there, the 14 cost card. That's what he'll be looking for later.
Yeah, definitely, if he can bring that thing out. And he's going to be using the War Machine, which basically taps... shouldn't use that nasty word. It exhausts units that you control and creates a massive War Machine once it's at 100%. So, drawing a Death Ray, which is handy for taking out stuff on the battlefield. And just for new players, the battlefield is the Defense Zone and Assault Zone on both players' sides. As well as the Support Zone as well. So the Defense, Assault, and Support Zone. And then the Combat Zones are just the Assault and Defense Zones on both sides. Firebolt going off. Good. Knocking down an Unending Drone.
I wouldn't have used that there. It was a little bit of a waste because the drone's just going to come back.
Yeah, it does feel like a waste of card.
But she didn't have much else to play there, so, I mean, it's fair enough.
So you can see he's... Cthulhu's just checking out the War Machine and checking out how far it is in. Probably feeling a little bit threatened by that. It's a good use of Unending Drones. I'd imagine that's part of what the other designers were thinking with creating it, to bring a real purpose for these Unending Drones that keep hanging about, and just chump blocking is pretty much their old primary use. Playing the ever-loved Dark Wish, which is my favourite card in the game. And here we go. So turn 6, another support drone, buffing another Unending Drone.
The support drone is going to be a fun card. It upsets the combat maths a little bit, just a little bit, so that you can get a favourable trade, or and then that can snowball everything. You can win the whole game off that. Because
it's a +3/+3, or what do you mean?
Well, if you have a 7/7 and they have an 8/8, and then you use the support drone, then your 7/7 will become a 10/10 and kill the 8/8, and you'll still have your 10/10, except it'll be instant.
A bit damaged, yeah. So it's a good thing for a 1 cost to give a +3/+3. It does cost you a card, but it's a good trade, I think, and definitely for building this War Machine, they come in very handy. Okay, let's hope he brings a zoom in on that anti-air turret, because that art is amazing on that card. Thanks to Shiraz, I believe is the most incredible artist who's made that card. Using an Aleta, buffing and going on the offensive.
Yeah, he has an opening to go on the offensive now, while Cthulhu doesn't have much. And he's also managed to get 4 artifacts out. 2 mechanisms, a War Machine, and the Ion Cannon. So the more artifacts he gets out, the easier it will be for him to play Omnitron. Omnitron works by... its cost is reduced for how many artifacts you have out.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So that's what he's going for there. That's why he's got so much.
He's definitely created a cool deck for sure for us to check out. And he's been using Tygris to its advantage, obviously bringing out more characters that he can just sort of bring out each turn to keep feeding this army of characters that are going to build the War Machine. So that's obviously what he's got it used for. Which makes sense now looking at his deck. Okay. Any advice here for what they should be looking at and considering in their plays?
Well, CthulhuGirl just drew Apparition. And so this is what I was talking about with the Subjugated Dragon.
Copying nice. Copying a dragon in your command zone to be able to get a 22/22 out on turn 7.
I do have to say, though, that this is not going to be actually on the live server.
Yeah, guys, these decks are certainly previews of what's potentially coming, just to get you excited about the ideas of some of these cards, and of course we'll refine them around very, very cool strategies like copying a dragon in your command zone. New players should know command zones are basically a place for you to be able to put your cards that you want to have in your deck 3 characters of your choice. Any characters can be chosen, and they'll be available for use with their abilities and to be able to be brought straight out onto the battlefield without being exhausted. Here we go, low orbit ion cannon. Just checking that out. It's come out. Okay, Tygris is going off and creating another character. 17 whole damage. Yep.
Now, it's interesting that WWKnight doesn't have any anti-air missiles in his deck list, and he doesn't even have... Oh, he does have them in his sideboard.
He's got them sideboard, yeah, he definitely has. So
I would have thought that he would have put them, a bit more of them, in the main deck against Veroria, which has a lot of flyers.
Okay, he's going to use this blood missile. Again, that new card is beautiful. And actually, again, it's Shiraz who's made that art, so well done to him. Okay, so considering our options at the moment, plenty of death to be had if she wants to use it.
Yep, she's got all the kill the things. Lots of options.
And now she's brought out the Lone Keep, which is basically making it so she can only have 1 ground unit attack each turn. The trade-off to that is that you do lose morale per turn. So once you run out of morale, that's the end of the game for you, same as losing health. Morale is an attrition mechanic that we've got in our game to make it so your games don't last 2 hours. Because every time you lose a character, you lose the morale cost in points. You can see the morale cost is below the cost of the card itself in the top right-hand corner.
Yeah.
So here we go. WWKnight, considering his options, probably should be a bit defensive. Good choice there. I've got a feeling this is going to be a bit of a close match, actually. It's looking pretty even.
I think it's going WWKnight's way at the moment, just because he has... Omnitron is extremely powerful, so he has to get there, but at the same time he's got a huge setup at the moment.
I was going to say, you do still feel he has an advantage in the present moment. I'm also talking about the present moment of how evenly matched it is, and it's it's looking pretty interesting. So could be anyone's game. Okay, so he's only blocking with the 11/11 because he's probably shit scared of the mass death. Mass death kills everything in the combat zones, and it's Veroria's almost best trick in its books, I would say. Definitely one of the best ones. Anything else thinking about just getting into the mind of WWKnight? What do you think he's thinking about at the moment?
You saw him think a long time about using his War Machine, and I think that's because when War Machine completes and that creates a... it turns into a 16/16, but then you lose the War Machine. So he's thinking about whether he wants to keep the War Machine as an artifact so that he can play Omnitron easier.
Which is just drawn this turn, so out's going to come the Omnitron. It's almost a no-brainer. Yeah. So
now, he plays that instantly.
Yeah, and it's got no summoning sickness, or what's the... Sorry, I'm not familiar with the Omnitron that much. So what's the Omnitron do?
It's an artifact, so it doesn't have... I think that's how it works, yeah. He's just going to put it up there for us.
Okay, it's reduced by 1 at the end of the turn. Each turn it creates 10 artificial characters with flying, and all artificial characters you control gain +5/+5. That's a pretty cool card.
And it actually reduces by 2 for every artifact, not 1.
Okay, cool. So even cheaper. Great. So we're going to see some flying battle happen here. Summoning Stone, which allows you to create some demons based on casting spells. So that's cool. Yeah.
There we go. He put it up for us.
There it is, beautiful. The anti-air array. Each time a flying character attacks you, it gets dealt 4 damage. Boom. Boom, 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 boom. So, where else? State of the play looks pretty balanced still, but we're going to have some big swingers come in, so we could hope for some big damage coming soon from one of the players.
Yeah, WWKnight's going to have the upper hand for the next little while, but Veroria is the faction that has all the control, so if anything can deal with him at the moment, it's going to be Veroria.
Yeah. Yeah. And so say a little bit about the control of the Veroria as a general thing. As a faction, what do you, the mechanic wise, what can you say about the control that Veroria has for new players?
Well, Veroria at the moment has the tools to do everything. Not necessarily everything all at once. So there's ways that you can outplay it, and there's ways that you can beat it. But a lot of players feel that it's very strong because of all the different tools that it has.
Yeah. So it has some all-round solutions to most things.
Yeah. So it can kill the things, and it can kill the things just about anywhere.
There's that blood missile going off. Omnitron is going to create some big flyers. Go Omnitron.
I've actually played against WWKnight's deck a couple times.
Yep.
And Omnitron is very... It just gets out of hand so quickly. You get the 10-10 flyers, and they get stronger and stronger, and more flyers.
Yeah, it's definitely a good late game play, isn't it? And he's basically doing it mid game because of the way he's played it out, the deck he's created. But nonetheless, he's still going to take 22 damage to the face. Okay, and he's down to 44 health, so he's got some problems if he doesn't react soon. And CthulhuGirl's going to use her zaps to zap away at these big flyers, but these are coming out every turn, so it's going to be a hard thing to answer to. She's going to have to keep that mass death up her sleeve.
Yeah, she has to make some plays here because she only has so many death rays.
Exactly.
She'll run out of them eventually.
Yeah, so she's going pretty much all in, which is the move that I expected her to do eventually, because WWKnight won't necessarily see it coming. He's been defending with like only a couple of units every time, probably not expecting an all in. So she should probably bring up her demons as well. Yeah, you might as well keep smacking it in if you're going all out. Why would you not bring them all forward?
Yeah, I would have played the other two as well.
Okay,
but
got it. Cool.
WWKnight has only 44 health at the moment. So he could actually lose if he doesn't defend with enough.
Yeah, and probably not counting, you can tell he's not counting on the death rays to come out for those two flyers. But he's going to be able to produce, hopefully, the War Machine this turn, which is going to make it interesting. And he's got one last resource left, so he's probably going to use the ability on one of those flyers. Yep.
But both of those flyers will be death rayed.
Correct. Which he's not aware of because in the planning phase, everyone makes their plans, and then in the resolution phase, everything resolves. Which means that, all this buffing that he's doing is a waste. It'll fizzle out because she's cut him off at the pass with her death rays. Here we go. So the all out has come in.
You can see how strong they get. 25 flying.
Pew! And they got so tough because of the Omnitron, yeah? Or was the...
Yeah.
They just keep buffing up.
And it's very lucky that he actually defended with that.
Oh my goodness! That would have been game, set, and match.
He's got 2 health left.
He's got 2 health left. Can he come back against... Yeah.
So right now, actually, it's definitely in the favour of CthulhuGirl.
Yep.
Veroria has a couple of direct damage spells, which she could use to finish the game right now.
If she had her deck lists, yeah.
Without even... well, she actually hasn't put any in her deck.
Yeah. So
and none in the sideboard either.
Ooh.
So, if she had put the direct damage in, right now she could sit back and defend and just wait till she draws that.
Yeah.
But because she hasn't done that, she's going to have to attack.
She's counting on making attacks, but, given what she's got out, she can produce.
She still only has to get 1 card through, just a tiny little flyer.
Yeah. And she's got a few of those to spare. So... See, this is a trick, because even if she does Yeah, if she has mass death, the Omnitron's going to keep producing those flyers, so she really is in a tricky spot.
And also because WWKnight played the shield generator last turn, so all these guys are invincible this turn.
That's... yeah. It's going to make it interesting. So what's a girl to do? She's going to wish. She's going to wish again for a couple of flying demons. She's going to pull back a turn, expecting him to use the shield generator. Good play. Except he's attacking as well, so she's going to run through. Okay. Well, see, yeah, the shield generator would have meant that she still can't get through, right? So she's really locked down with no artifact hate in her sideboard either, I don't think. She's got Oblivion.
She has
right.
Annihilate.
Annihilate will do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
If she gets lucky and draws an Annihilate, she'll be good. But she's pretty much counting on that now.
The only way she can get through is if she uses Word of Command or annihilates the shield generator. So she'll have to defend here because WWKnight's got a lot of strong guys and she's only got 30 health left.
Yeah. Quite two very beastly decks. I would hate to face this in matchmaking. I just rage quit right about now.
Well, they both have a fair bit of counterplay available. You notice that the first 5 or 6 or even 7 turns of the game, nothing much happened. So there's a lot of opportunity there to rush someone down or to remove the artifacts in the case of WWKnight. There's a lot of counterplay available.
Yeah. So it just really comes down to the deck matchup, and in this case we have two really interesting decks lined up against each other. And we'll see what sort of difference the sideboards can make to them in their second and third matches.
I would expect WWKnight to put in some anti-air missiles.
Yeah, that would be a very good play on his behalf. Okay, creating another character. Currently it's a 2/2 for a cost of 1. Pumping it up to a 6/6 for a cost of 3. Very cool card, Tygris, being able to design your own cards. Adding in charge, making it go straight into the attacking zone. Thinking about unstoppable, meaning that it will keep attacking until it hits the fortress and destroy everything in its way, or if it dies. And it's going to make that flying 2020 unstoppable.
That's an interesting move, actually.
Maybe beefing it up as well. I would be beefing it up. Cancel that ability to... Oh, did he know? Did he cancel that or did he click done? He clicked done, I think. So...
He hasn't been bothering to position his mechanisms at the moment.
He's just... Is that just what do you make of that? Obviously, he could be getting bonuses if he did, right? So.
Oh, he could be getting some bonuses, but it doesn't matter too much at this stage of the game. Just if you wanted that little extra bit.
Oh, you never know when that extra bit's going to come through. So, here we go. Look at that. We're going to have... did he sacrifice a shield generator? I believe he did. Boom. 28-28. Coming at you. Unstoppable. Nice. And in... Okay.
It's not unstoppable yet.
It's not unstoppable. I thought he paid for that. It's alright. Sacrificing 1, 2. Let's find 2.
He has to sacrifice more and more to the generator.
That's the problem with the shield generator. It's good for making you invincible. You could make an invincible, unstoppable character. That would be pretty scary, I would say.
He needs more resources, really. All of these abilities that Tygris can add to a character that he creates, they cost a fair bit. If you add all the abilities, then the actual size of the character will be really small.
Yeah, but nonetheless, can't really sacrifice to it. You're right.
Cthulhu just drew Annihilate though, so she can now
get rid of that Omnitron. That's what I'd be doing. Or the shield generator. I'd probably go rid of the Omnitron, because this shield generator just can't keep up. He hasn't got a lot of card creation, and in fact, if she can take out the card creation, she'll be there. Would you go shield generator? I mean, the shield generator is obviously a problem, but the Omnitron's a long-term problem.
I would actually probably take out the Omnitron.
Mm. Yeah, so he's gone for the shield generator because he's scared of that thing, and he thinks he could be killed in one turn. I think the morale impact of being sitting on 2 health would make you pretty scared of what's going to happen. And
if the shield generator goes away and then she can mass death, then she might have a chance here.
Yeah, I mean, she has the resources to do it this turn. So if she chains it, they'll still gain.
It's her initiative at the moment, so she could do that.
Oh, there's a checkmate right there. Kill the generator. The ability doesn't go off. Poor WWKnight will be banking on that ability going off, and she wins the game.
Yeah.
So game-winning play from here, we believe. But she's chosen to go for the shield generator instead. Boom. Say goodbye to your shield generator. And I see what you mean by answers to everything. Yeah, never mind. The shield generator actually resolves before. Because it's start of turn, correct?
Yeah, so she made the right play.
Yep. Good move by her part. Here comes... See, this is the thing. Unstoppable 30-30. That's what I predicted would come. It's a very nasty combo. You watch this thing plow through. Okay. Oh no, we don't have an unstoppable. That's defender. Sorry, my mistake. An unstoppable defender. Sorry, invincible defender. Held off quite well.
Cthulhu is running out of morale though.
18 morale.
4 per turn, and her flyers are actually quite expensive in terms of morale.
They are. And here comes the feared mass death. I would probably play a Desolation for fun. Anyway. Wow.
Yeah, she doesn't have a lot of options left.
Yeah. And she really needs to get through soon. Question is how?
She doesn't have enough resources to play the Subjugated Dragon, so that's essentially just useless there.
Yeah, it is. It's unfortunate because that'd come in real handy right now. So shuffling away to get a recycle. Recycle will grab a card from her graveyard and put it back into her deck. We all like to recycle here. Don't we? So, state of play for WWKnight. What do you think he should be doing?
That's a good question.
Besides pulling everything back because there's a mass death coming.
I would pull most things back. He still actually has to defend because if she attacks with something, he could lose.
Yeah.
He has to defend with a little bit, but I would pull most of it back.
He's been lulled into a false sense of security with his shield generator and the fact that she hasn't played a mass death the whole game. So he's playing it out as if she hasn't got them, and she's been sitting on it the whole time for just a time as this. It's a good match. Great match, even.
Yeah, it's been a pretty even match between the two decks. It's gone back and forth a little bit.
Yep. He's almost caught up altogether. Game-winning catch-up. If it wasn't for that mass death, here we go. He's going to get a rude shock. And if only we had a camera on his face right now, hey? Boom! Say goodbye to everything.
So that's mass death for you.
Yeah, and that's the reason why so many newbies rage at mass death.
I think this is the point where you flip the table.
Yeah.
But
But
WWKnight,
he still has the
he's still winning.
advantage. He's definitely still got the advantage. He's got two 15/15 flyers that are coming out every turn. Yeah, for free. It doesn't get much better than that.
And he actually has an Omnitron in hand as well, so even if he loses his Omnitron, he can play another one.
He can bring another one out just because of all these artifacts. Very cool deck. I think I'll be doing it. I'll be making one of these for sure. Great. Going all out, it's a bit of an interesting play. I would be defending a little bit.
I'm not sure what I would do here. He has to defend a little bit carefully. Cthulhu doesn't have many cards in hand and has played a lot of her cards.
Yep.
Like,
yeah.
She's running out of morale. So honestly, if WWKnight just defends, Cthulhu will be out of morale in 2 turns' time.
That's all he needs to do is survive 2 turns. Yeah, I think that's worth just going all out on the defensive instead of throwing your stuff up against the potential wall of death. She's really run out of options here. I think it looks like the deck's run out of steam, unfortunately. So it's going to likely be a sad ending to the game for CthulhuGirl. I'm sure it's a very happy ending for WWKnight. So looks like game 1 will be going to CthulhuGirl. Sorry, WWKnight.
She's trying to think of a way that she can use her... She gets to Annihilate.
Hello.
This could be interesting.
Yeah. Oh, she's using an Annihilate. Oh, this could be a game turnaround off the beautiful trading post, which is being renamed to the supply depot soon, guys, which gives a player, any player, the ability to trade away resources for card advantage. So you never have a dead turn, not a fully dead turn in Infinity Wars. You've always got options. She's
having a good think, yeah.
Yeah, and she needs to. Those 2 lightning blasts will take out that large scouting drone by itself. Blood missiling one of the scouting drones, making another card. Boom! But this looks like game. Oh my goodness! Say goodbye. Omnitron comes out, making more stuff, but that's game, set, and match.
No,
Tygris
it's not.
Oh, the last second, at the very last second, a little tiny bot comes out thanks to Tygris and stops what would have been an amazing turnaround.
So WWKnight used Tygris to create a flying character that had Vigilance. And Vigilance puts your character into the defense zone instead of support zone.
Yeah, straight out there, so you could defend with it straight away. So this Tygris has turned out to be a game-winning card. Or at least a game defending card. So we'll see what happens now, because he can literally defend and win this game from here.
So that was a pretty amazing turn there.
Oh, it was. That was a fantastic.
Cthulhu top decking the Annihilate in the first place.
Yeah.
And then nearly winning.
And playing it so well so that she was able to, with the resources, kill off both those characters.
So she has nothing left here, but WWKnight doesn't know that. So he'll have to still play carefully.
But nonetheless, he's got to win this now, right? Now that we know what options she doesn't have.
Yeah.
What moves she's made. So she's made her plays, and that's game, set, and match if he can hold it off. I'd be not doing that. I'd be just putting all my stuff in the defense zone just in case. Yeah. Cool.
Well, Another thing that Cthulhu could have done was use Annihilate on Veroria, so that she doesn't lose morale every turn.
Yes. And yeah, she hasn't got a lot of characters to worry about, and it would have kept her in the game. But I don't think there's much else she can do. Yeah. It is too... Wait a minute. Oh, good. Okay, they got buffed up to 2020s. I was going to say, is he going to slip in with 2 damage to win it? Is she going to? She's not. there's the Firebolt to the... And killed him off finally. Probably should have done that a while ago, actually.
It's too late, though.
Yeah, too late.
Okay.
Too late for CthulhuGirl. Game goes to WWKnight. Well done, WWKnight, game 1. Now time for a short break. We'll go to them too.
Now, I'm going to preface this with the fact that I do love this card. But Omnitron, the large artifact, the overcosted one, which WWKnight played against me, that one definitely like freaks me out. You get that on the field and it's kind of like, Puffy, there's no way to deal with this, right? You can't, it's got shield 5, you can't get rid of it, it's just this all over, like if you get that onto the field, you kind of just, you roll over your opponent pretty much. Like the one game he managed to get it out, like I managed to play well enough to not lose immediately, but I think there definitely, if he'd played it slightly different, he could have ended the game a lot sooner. But he was playing like really cautious against me, and that was probably just a particular deck that I had, and him knowing like the way that I play that kind of deck. But that kind of card, it's really scary. But on the same time, you have to build a deck around that. He had to put a lot of artifacts into his deck in order to get that thing onto the field. And I think that it's definitely something that's really scary, and it's something that like is really appealing to a 3-purity GI deck because it really like puts that fear in your opponent. But it's also, as the opponent, really terrifying to see that thing come onto the field. Or if you just see 3-purity GI, you immediately know that could be in their deck. Like as soon as they play an artifact or two, like the fear starts going in you, right? Like you don't know, do they have it in their deck? Because they could totally bluff having it and not actually have it, and you're gonna spend all this time like trying to deal with their artifacts and get them off the field somehow, and like they don't even actually have the card, they're just kind of like distracting you with, you know, like mechanism that costs 1 or something, you know, it's no big deal to them if it dies. That's kind of like the whole part of what purity in deck building and Infinity Wars gives you, is this ability to kind of fake out your opponent. It goes with the whole psychology of having the simultaneous turns. It allows you to kind of bluff certain things, because even if you only have 40 cards in your deck and 3 commanders, you can still kind of like hint to your opponent certain ways you're going to play. And I think that not only hinting to your opponent certain ways you're going to play, but also tricking your opponent into how they think you're going to play is a really interesting thing. So I think that that's definitely a really good card to have coming up in Ascension and being added to Infinity Wars, but I am going to kill all of those artifacts and make sure that they don't get it on the field the next time.
So, game 2. And we have the load screens there. You'll notice that those icons next to their names are actually quite low. That's because this is the test server, and they're checking out the brand new Ascension set way before it hits the digital shelves 2 weeks from now. So, turn 1 play from WWKnight, bringing out that mechanism.
I'm surprised that CthulhuGirl doesn't have the Veroria battlefield.
That's right, we have the brand new premium battlefields that have come out, and WWKnight's rocking out the Genesis Industries one in line with his deck. And what do we have here?
We've got a shield generator.
Yeah, we have a shield generator, and it's just gone turn 2 for CthulhuGirl. Cool, any comments?
There's the Apparition again. So that's going to be, on the QA, have already had a look at the Apparition and Subjugated Dragon, as well as any other combination. So they decided that the Apparition was going to be changed so that it can't target command, which would solve most of that solves pretty much all the issues with it.
Yeah.
So otherwise Veroria just becomes, put the biggest, scariest thing in command and then make copies of it.
That's right. So thankfully, as a little indie company that we are, we've got a great bunch of QA guys who are helping out with testing these sets for you players so that they come out with very few, hopefully, broken combinations. The bigger and bigger a card set gets, the harder it does become. But we're being as vigilant as we can. And we've recently just taken on a QA person as well. So a couple of QA people. So hopefully we'll see more rounded sets come out every 3 months. Okay, yeah. Bang, straight in for 13 damage. Yep.
And a lot of players are nervous of Veroria. Like, they think a lot of things in Veroria are very strong. Like, Mass Death is obviously very a very scary card. And there's a lot of cards in Veroria like that where players are going to be... they don't like Veroria to be OP too much. Basically.
Well, yeah. And
so the dev team knows this, and they keep it a 9 Veroria, try not to make them too strong, keep them balanced, keep all the other factions viable.
It's the thing, and it becomes a question of, you know, how much can we buff the other factions without making them get out of control. So, yeah, it's a very interesting, you know, faction that can kill everything on the battlefield and also still be able to take people out with damage and have, you know, the occasional big character come out as well in the form of an apparition copying a dragon. There's the beautiful art on Blood Arrow, we can see there. Dealing a whole stack of damage to type a character on the battlefield. Getting rid of Mass Death for a Summoning Stone. I've noticed she doesn't have many plays that she can use all her resources for. It tends to be that WWKnight can completely use his resources.
Yeah, and it looks like the game's going a little bit similar to last game. They're both trying to build up their positions early on.
Yeah. So we are seeing the, you know, odd, very long game. Most games in Infinity Wars go between 8 and 15 minutes. If you've got a couple of decks that work late game, it can go longer than that. But if you focus too much on late game, then you're going to get smashed at the start by Flame Dawn. So you've got to be careful playing for a late game deck. Junkyard, lots of options there.
Junkyard is an interesting new card. It's kind of like an artifact version of Tygris in a way. It can give you a lot of options.
Yeah. See a lot of these option cards come along, which are making them quite chased cards. And I imagine when the new wishes come out as well, for the other factions, they're going to be highly sought after cards.
So CthulhuGirl already has a dragon on the field on turn 5. That's huge. This is why that we have to keep an eye on Veroria, because otherwise things like this can really unbalance the game.
Yeah, nerf. So don't
but
take
this
Yep.
This is also why I thought that WWKnight would have sideboarded in his anti-air missiles. Would have been really helpful right here.
So we don't know if he has done that yet. We'll see if he ends up drawing some. And we can see CthulhuGirl's checking out this Junkyard, going, what is this thing going to do to me today? Doesn't look like she's got anything to be afraid of, so she can go all in with her... Well, not all in, she can go in with a 22/22 Flying Dragon. She doesn't need to bother bringing that 1/1. Scouting mission creates 3 drones. Very helpful. Do a little bit more work on that War Machine. That War Machine hasn't been too useful. It's, you know, I kind of feel like he would have been more beneficial just attacking more instead of exhausting these drones for the War Machine. What do you think?
Yeah,
I think particularly because he buffs them, he tends to have them quite strong. So they're not going to necessarily go out and be killed every time. And, you know, yeah, it seems like a bit of a waste to tap a 9/9 to feed a War Machine.
Well, I think that he mainly has the War Machines in there to help the Omnitrons. That's an extra artifact.
Yeah. It's a 2-cost artifact to make the Omnitron cost 2 less. So, even if he never touches it, great.
They're both playing 3 Purity decks at the moment. So, WWKnight has 3 Purity Genesis, and CthulhuGirl has 3 Purity Veroria.
Yep.
But you can mix them up a bit. So if you had a deck that was 2 Purity Veroria and 1 Purity Genesis, you could have War Machine and Mass Death in the same deck.
That's right.
And what you can do with that is you can use War Machine to exhaust your guys, and then use Mass Death. So you can effectively pull your guys back.
Oh, that is the most incredible idea for a deck, my friend. I'm going to be getting off this match and actually making that. That's awesome. What a great play. Being able to control, because the Mass Death for newbies prevents you from being able to move your cards naturally to your support zone. But if you force them to by being exhausted, that gets them back to safety.
Yeah. And
builds a monstrous, War Machine as well. So. Cool. So, yes.
So WWKnight, he's got a shield generator, but he's kind of in a tough position here because he needs to start blocking these giant flyers that are attacking him.
Yeah. So it almost becomes a question of, is he able to start using the shield generator now? Because he knows that every turn that's going to get more and more expensive and get harder and harder to play. Yeah,
he doesn't have much to sacrifice to it, so it'll run out of gas in a couple of turns.
Yeah, it wouldn't take long. This is good. This is interesting. I would be almost chump blocking that 22-15, which doesn't matter because it's unstoppable if I remember correctly, yes?
Yes, it does have unstoppable.
Wow. Okay, so there's no point in chump blocking. He has to literally buff his card to make it bigger than this card, which is not going to happen at this stage. Okay. So a couple of summoning stones out there for CthulhuGirl, which will be handy because they'll trigger off any spells that are made. It's a good play having a second summoning stone. Makes it a bit more useful for a deck that's primarily focused around spells. So
yeah.
3 seconds to extend, making last minute changes. Could have just hit the extend button, but chose not to. Freaked out a little bit at the end from the look of the mouse cursor.
Yeah, he's trying to think about how he can save himself here because he doesn't have long to live if he doesn't get something out soon.
That's right. This game could be over very, very quickly, which is a welcome change from the last game because we don't want to be going for 2 hours here on this record on this first showcase match for Infinity Wars.
The last game was a really great game.
Yeah, it was. It was a really good matchup. So, guys, we're hoping to do more of these showcase matches. We'd love your comments down below. Any suggestions you have for some cool ideas for these games, we want to give them a set of rules. So in this case, we've gotten, having 15 Ascension cards in the decks as our unique identifier. The next showcase match will be a Star Trek showcase match, so look out for that 2 weeks from now. Make sure you subscribe below to be in with the cool kids because we're looking at actually building up our subscriber base and our content from our YouTube channel. So we do want to keep giving you great content. So we'd love to see you guys subscribe to keep in touch with us. 3 summoning stones out at the moment.
And a lot of flyers.
Oh yes. I think this is a pretty early win for CthulhuGirl. She's definitely got the right idea. She's like, I am not messing around this time. We're just going to go in and kill this guy before he can get strong. She knows she can't handle it. Just because of Omnitron, the fact that you produce 10 flyers that get bigger.
She's got another apparition.
Yeah.
So this is mostly off the early Subjugated Dragon from the Apparition.
Yeah.
But Cthulhu also did play a little bit more aggressive this game I guess because she realized from last game how powerful Omnitron can control the game later on.
Yeah, definitely. So it's good. We get to see all these really crazy ass ideas that get nerfed before release and make for good matches. Because they're both sort of playing some very questionably broken cards. Like, I love the idea of the Omnitron, but he's pretty big for something that costs 8 to bring out with a whole artifact-focused deck.
Well, the Omnitron is part of a series of cards.
Yep.
I'm not sure how much I can say, but...
You can spoil it. Yeah.
Basically, there's going to be some very impressive-looking cards in all the factions. So Omnitron is the one for Genesis, and there's going to be others.
Yeah, and that's game. Game to WWKnight.
My favorite card from our showcase match has to be Apparition. Apparition was the 2 purity character Veroria card that I played that copies a target character. It's been tweaked a little bit now, and so when it comes out it will not be quite what I played in the showcase match. But, I mean, because as you can see it was a little bit stronger, like getting a turn 5 Sub Dragon, a little bit too strong. So we changed a little bit about its targeting and its cost and some of those particular interactions, as far as rebalancing the card to make sure that things went smoothly for Ascension release. But I think the copy mechanic is something that I find really interesting in a card, and a lot of other TCGs already have this copy mechanic, and having the copy mechanic that allows you to take anything, like your opponent's big scary creature or another character like of yours that's maybe unique and you can't get 2 of them on the field very easily, like that gives you a lot more ways to like come back if you're behind in a game.
Welcome back for the final match, the third match, the deciding match between WWKnight and CthulhuGirl. This is going to be a match to remember because it's coming down to the wire. 1 match each. We've got a turn 1 play, Aleta buffing the 2-drop, giving him a 5/5 on turn 2, which is good. And guess what? Turn 2 is not going to happen because he's going to zap it. And because of initiative, which means that the player in green at the top there, their abilities go off first. So it will kill it before the buff happens. Sorry, you were going to say there something? That's an okay move. It slows WWKnight down a little bit. But he's just going to get that drone back as soon as he plays another drone out. So you think it might be better to wear down the Tygris and give him less options for mid-game? Yeah, I would have probably waited for another Lightning Bolt and Fireball and taken out the Tygris because she's had a lot of trouble with the Tygris before. Yeah, she has. Out comes the War Machine, and he's building up for another long game. We'll see how we go. Okay, 6/6 swinging in early for 6 damage to the 100 health Fortress, bringing it down to 94. He's got a pretty good hand here. It's got some interesting options there. What would you do? Probably play the Junkyard. Yep, but he's going for the Discovery instead. He's looking for Omnitron straight off. He's not mucking around here. He wants that thing out on turn 8. I guess because he's got a handful of artifacts. Yeah. He figures he'll be able to get it out. Yeah. Fairly soon. Everything. Well, CthulhuGirl is very much aware of what happens with his deck if it allows to start rolling, so she's going to do everything in her power to stop it from getting to there. Just showing another new card, Gather Thoughts, for us. Shuffle top 3 cards to your graveyard into your deck. That's cool. Bringing back options for later. It only costs 1. So here we go, Omnitron. Just found the Omnitron. That's interesting. That means the I suppose the not Junkyard, the Recycle allows you to choose a card, so it is quite different from the one, but the Gather Thoughts. 12 damage. smacking away as we predicted. And just, you know, to make an early call, you got anyone you think's going to win this match?
I would say CthulhuGirl at the moment. She's off to a good start.
Yeah.
And we saw last time around that when she got off to a really aggressive start, WWKnight didn't have time to get all of his robots going so much.
Yeah. So I would normally just back the underdog in this case, so I'll do that. I'm going to back WWKnight.
Because you can see that he has really nothing to play. He's got five cost cards, and he's only on turn 4.
This support drone's getting pretty buffed pretty quick, but not before he takes a 13 damage to the face, and he's almost down to half health already. So not looking too good for WWKnight, because he doesn't have many answers to early aggression. He's got all these artifacts in his hand.
He kind of relies on the unending drones to chump block at the start.
You know what I'd be doing now?
That.
Yeah, I'd be playing out Aleta. Like, Aleta coming out there would stop all that damage, stop all that early aggression.
That's actually a good option.
It's the beauty of Command Zone, being able to bring the character straight out onto the battlefield without summoning sickness, whatever you call it, summoning exhaustion. We won't use any copyrighted terms, given the unfortunate recent news in the trading card game community. So there's a few big players that are having at each other. And we won't talk too much about that, but you can Google search that stuff. Okay, whereas Infinity Wars is proud to say that it's a rather unique game of its own design. We have been inspired from many other trading card games, but we're certainly not trying to recreate any of those trading card games.
I think that Infinity Wars has a lot of unique mechanics. They have the simultaneous turns and the trading post, and a couple other things like the resources per turn, instead of having like other forms of restrictions on playing cards, as well as security and the commander setup. I haven't seen anything like those features in other games, really. Yeah,
and so we just stacked them all together. A lot of them are things like Morale came from a fantastic game back in the day that had the cost of the card take off your health. I used to play a couple of pro tourneys, not pro tourneys, but I used to go to tournaments for that game Versus, which isn't around anymore. So I suppose I can use the name of the game and say I loved that game. I love the idea of having DC and Marvel match up as well in a game. So we've got Star Trek, thanks to the Next Generation series.
So CthulhuGirl here, you'll notice she's making really small flyers out of her summoning stones. Instead of building it up into a large flyer, and that's to buff up the Master of Demons, which gets +3 from all the demons. So
very smart play by her, and you know, look, she's going to be able to win this if he doesn't do something soon. And he's just really got no options, has he? She's just learnt to not let him get any kind of steam at all.
Yeah, and she's got Blood Arrow. She's got a couple of Gather Thoughts, which lets her get cards back from the graveyard. And
she's smartly not playing the Veroria keep at the moment.
Yeah, there's no reason for her to play it now. She's not under
any kind of pressure.
Yeah.
Okay, using the Blood Missile on the Tygris, good play. Oh, whoop, can't do it because it has to be out on Battlefield, I believe. Battlefield for Blood Missile, or is it combat zones?
I'm not
sure. That's all right. These new cards confuse us players. They're as new to us almost as they are to you guys. So, Summoning Stones going off, making a couple of 4/4 flyers, beefing that Master of Demons even more. And we're going to see... Oh, low orbit Ion Cannon went off, but it's a little too late. Dead. Game, set, and match to CthulhuGirl. What a quick match. Wow.
That was a great series. The first game was so back and forth, and CthulhuGirl really learnt from that. I think went to go aggressive instead of waiting for WWKnight to get all set up and get the Omnitron out.
Yeah, definitely very good agile play by CthulhuGirl. Great play by WWKnight as well. They're both very high-level players and quite well known in the community. So this was the match that the community has asked for, which we have provided you. So new players, old players, all players, comment down below with your thoughts, reactions, suggestions for upcoming show matches. We really want to give you guys the matches you want to see, and we thank you very much for your time and your viewing pleasure. And Adorabear, any final comments?
No.
Great. Well, this is Adorabear, a man of few words, but a man of wise words when it comes to the matches. So thank you for your contributions today, and thanks for joining us on the very first Infinity Wars Showcase match. And this is Elphie Agent Coyle signing off for now, and we'll see you guys next time. Sorry?
And thanks for having me on. It's been a pleasure.
Great, man. We'll see you around the traps, and we'll see you all in game. Take care. Bye.
I think I did pretty well in the game. I mean, considering that I won, so there's a little bit of that going into how you evaluate it. But our biggest point was trying to showcase the cards. WWKnight and I are pretty good friends, and I feel like what we really wanted to do was showcase the good cards, because, I mean, we've won and lost against each other a lot, right? So that doesn't necessarily matter as much to us. And I think we did a pretty good job of that. I think he maybe showcased it a little bit better than I did. He showed a lot more cards that were new and a lot more interesting mechanics, where a lot of the cards that I showcased were already on live. As far as competitiveness between us for the game, I mean, you're friends. It's not like do or die to win against somebody. It's not a high-pressure tournament. We were really just doing things for fun to try to showcase the new cards. A lot of the finished balance stuff wasn't even done for everything yet, but it's still fun, like, to get a little bit into it to try to beat each other, especially when, like, you know that how each other play and you know that both people have a really good chance to win. That's definitely something that's pretty exciting. Now, one thing I definitely want to say about Ascension is that the art coming out in the new set, especially for the Overseers, the Angel faction as everyone wants to call them, it's phenomenal. Like, a lot of it has been spoiled already. Like, everyone has been talking about the Ascended versions of the G and stuff that are coming out. They're absolutely gorgeous. I think the artists have really overdone themselves in this particular set. I know that doesn't really relate at all to gameplay as far as, like, the competitive and strategy, but that is one thing that I do want to point out there, is that it's really good. I think that people are going to be very happy with the new art that's coming out in Ascension. I also think that the introduction of a new faction into the game of Infinity Wars is going to add a lot more variety as far as different splashes that players can do, especially with the addition of the Overseers, which, as you can probably guess, use a lot of flying. Currently there are a lot of decks that just don't handle flying very well. Veroria has some flying, and GI is kind of the main flying faction, but certain factions like Sleepers or Exiles don't really have any way to deal with flying at the moment, and the addition of one more faction that allows them a lot of splashability to kind of deal with flying, I think is going to do really well.